Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about a beautiful story that is written by O. Henry and titled as The Last Leaf. The Last Leaf is a short story by O. Henry. It was published in 1907 in his collection The Trimmed Lamp and Other Stories. The Last Leaf is a story of Johnsy, a poor young woman who is critically ill due to pneumonia. She believes that when the ivy vine on the wall outside her window would lose all its leaves, she would die too. However, her neighbor, Behrman, an artist, tricks her by painting a leaf on the wall. Johnsy recovers. However, Behrman caught pneumonia painting the leaf. As a result, he dies. Now, let us know about the author, O. Henry. O. Henry was an American short story writer. His stories are known for their surprise endings. His stories reflect his own experiences in Texas and New York and include plot twists or unexpected changes in the plot. Two of his most famous stories are The Gift of the Maggie and The Ransom of Red Chief. Now children, let us discuss about the main themes in The Last Leaf. Hope never dies. One of the central themes in O. Henry's story The Last Leaf is hope. And hope never dies. Behrman accomplished what had been waiting for all his life, his masterpiece. He was never successful in his life, but the masterpiece he created near the end of his life inspired Johnsy. She had lost all hope, but The Last Leaf, which was actually a painting painted by Behrman, the old painter, gave her the hope and courage to live. Even she or Sue could not mark the difference and only knew when they knew of Behrman's death and the material in his room. Now, if we notice the second theme, that is Behrman's sacrifice. Behrman's sacrifice is also a key theme in the story. We find that he put his life at stake for Johnsy is because he must have cared for her. It showed he cared for the two friends and therefore put life at stake. Sue was always around and made a bigger sacrifice and left behind the gift of Johnsy's life. He knew not many people would know about his masterpiece, but Sue and Johnsy will remember that he kept his word. Success came to him, but not in the way anyone have imagined. This is the irony in the story, that he was not around to cherish his success when he had made his best art of life. However, the real charm of the story lies in its ending and how Behrman successfully broke the spell of death with his paintbrush. Johnsy would not have survived since she had lost all hope, but she did because she saw a leaf struggling for the life harder than she did, which gave her hope and delighted her. Let us talk about the another theme, life and death. Another key theme that features in O. Henry's The Last Leaf is that of life and death. Life is precious, and one cannot let it go as easily. The story also teaches us the value of life and that we are here to accomplish something meaningful and be good to others while we live. While Johnsy is sick, she has lost all her hope to live. However, things suddenly change in her life when she is made aware of the fact that waiting for one's death to arrive is not a courageous act. She looked at the last leaf and she saw how it battled for life. She has experienced one of the most important truths of life, that one should not lose the courage to live till the last moment. She starts loving her and the leaf reignites the hope in her, and she would be able to paint the Bay of Naples again. In the death of Behrman too, there is a meaningful message hidden. Behrman too had not achieved anything meaningful in his life. However, in his last day, he has done something life changing for John C. and Sue. Now, we'll talk about the significance of the title in the last leaf. The title of the short story holds a special significance and reflects the central theme of the story. The story is about two friends and the significance of an old painter. Johnsy had given up every hope, and she had started preparing her last journey in despair, counting days as they passed and the last remaining leaves on the ivy plant outside her window. That last leaf gave her the hope of life and taught her the most valuable lesson she should never lie inside her. The last leaf stubbornly held to life against all odds, and so she too could beat pneumonia and lead a happy life. If a half yellow leaf can cling to the stubbornly to life, there was no for her to let go. The ivy vine too could have shed that last leaf, but it did not. The relationship between the two friends is somewhat like the vine and the leaf. The Last Leaf, a short story by O. Henry, is set in Greenwich Village in New York. It was published in 1907 in O. Henry's collection The Trimmed Lamp and Other Stories. The author begins the story with a brief description of the setting. There are too many streets at Greenwich Village and they take so many turns that it appears one street goes through itself quite a few times. Mainly painters inhabited the Greenwich Village as they could find cheaper accommodation in this part of the city. The story centers two female characters, Sue and Johnsy, two painters and a third older male character, an unsuccessful painter. They all live in the same building. Sue and Johnsy lived on the third floor, while the old painter lived on the first floor. The story takes place during a pneumonia epidemic. Sue was from Maine and Johnsy from California. When they arrived at Greenwich, they met each other at a restaurant on the 8th Street. Soon they found that they had similar preferences in terms of food, clothing, and art. They became friends and decided to live and work together. It happened during the spring. As winter arrived, pneumonia spread across the town. However, its spread was rather slow in the streets of Greenwich Village. Johnsy fell ill and lay motionless in her bed. The author refers to pneumonia as a cold stranger who touched one or the other person here and there with his cold icy fingers, causing them to fall grievously ill. Once Johnsy was ill with pneumonia, she would lay motionless in her bed, watching the wall of her house next to hers through the window. When Doc was there to check Johnsy, he called Sue into the hall so Johnsy did not overhear them. There he told Sue that Johnsy had very little chance. She could die because she had lost the desire to live. The doctor was afraid that he could not do much if the patient had lost hope, interest in life. He wanted to know if there was anything in particular troubling Sue's friend. Sue could not recall anything important except that Johnsy wanted to go to Italy and paint the Bay of Naples. However, the doctor wanted to know if there was a man in Johnsy's life. Sue did not know of a man. Doctor replied that Johnsy had grown weak and if she had no desire to live, half of his work was already wasted. The doctor replied that Johnsy had grown weak and if she had no desire to live, half of his way was already wasted. If Johnsy again got interested in life and her future, her chances would grow. So the doctor suggested to Sue that she talked to her friend about winter clothes. The doctors were Sue feeling sad. She went to the workroom and started crying. Sue felt dreadful for her friend, but she knew she had to support Johnsy in such a critical time. Therefore, she picked some of her painting materials and went to the room where Johnsy was lying. Sue was singing all the while. Johnsy was lying with her face to the window and she looked thin and quiet. Sue stopped singing, believing Johnsy was asleep. She started her work but suddenly heard a sound and went to Johnsy's beside to check out. Let's proceed. Behrman, an old painter, lived on the ground floor. He had a dream that he would one day paint a masterpiece. Sue told Behrman about Johnsy's strange fancy. Both he and Sue went to Johnsy's room while she was sleeping. They saw the ivy creeper had only one leaf left. It was raining and seemed that the last leaf would fall any time. Johnsy awoke from her sleep and saw the last leaf. It was green and healthy. Johnsy looked at it every hour, but it did not fall even in the stormy evening. This revived Johnsy's will to live. Johnsy admitted that she was a wicked girl. The last leaf had shown her that it was a sin to want to die. She asked for a mirror and had lots of hot soup. The chief message that this story gives is the spirit of sacrifice we need to have in our life. The old artist Behrman sacrificed his life so that Johnsy could live. In this process, he also achieved his ambition of painting a masterpiece. The other message is that we should have a positive attitude in life. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for your patient listening.